Standing by live for us in San Diego, California, we have defense attorney Vikas Bajaj. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I'd like to ask you, please, let's say that you were the one defending Kellen Winslow II in this case. How do you approach it? What would be your legal theory? What would be your strategy? Tell us what you would do, please.
In this type of a case, when you have multiple accusers, your number one goal is to take the pot and separate it. The most demonstrative and harmful thing to the defense in this case is the consolidation of these similar charges and similar conduct. So as a defense attorney, number one, you need to pick a jury that you believe and jurors that you believe are not predisposed to convict. And of course, here in San Diego, we have a conservative jury pool, but I tend to believe that that's not the way most jurors think in San Diego. But in this case, you really have to do an investigation during jury selection to make sure that each juror is willing to separate each allegation from those that are founded upon allegations made by different victims. That's the real elephant in the room in this case. If 5 people say similar things happened, well, how can you argue with a straight face that it didn't? So the enormous task that the defense attorney has and defense attorneys have in this case is to separate the whole into smaller pieces and make their attacks on credibility, alibis, or whatever other factual defenses they intend to present.
Criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj, we thank you for being with us. We'd ask you to kindly stay with us. Stay with us out there in San Diego. Stay dry. We can see it raining behind you. We just need to take a quick break. We'll be back with more thoughts from you and criminal defense attorney Jason Swindle in just a moment. Don't go away. All right, now what we want to do is head back out to San Diego, where criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj is kind enough to stand by for us. Jury selections going on in the courthouse there behind you. And I want to ask you, Vikas, if you were the attorney defending Kellen Winslow II in this case where there are 5 accusers, what type of jurors would you want to put on your jury?
You'd want jurors, in my opinion, and this is one of the big advantages we have in the Southern District of California, being in San Diego, and that is there's so much technology and so much engineering going on here as far as the workplace. So routinely, when we're going through voir dire or the jury selection process that we know, we go through the history of these jurors. You know, what do you do for a living? Do you have children? Have you ever experienced something like these allegations before? And the reason for that is to make sure we get every juror to have a collection of 12 that we believe is going to give us a good shot at our interpretation of the evidence. So in this case, I believe those with hard science backgrounds may help regarding some of the weaker, more tangential allegations. Now, of course, we have DNA evidence that we know will be presented, and that's going to be quite harmful whether the jurors are engineers or not. But in this case, I would look for those who are experts or at least have some history with the hard sciences. Sure. I also think that those, of course, who have loved ones that are the victims' ages in this case would be those that you'd want to steer away from, but that might be practically difficult to do. Again, most importantly, the most important question to ask this jury, potential jury, is this. Juror number 1 through potential juror number 101. Are you able to separate in your minds things that happened or are alleged to have happened at different times to different people of the same quality and character? Now, if you're not truly able to do that, well, we'll have to thank you and excuse you. That is the hook to hang the defense hat on, as they say in this case.
Yes. Vikas Bajaj, appreciate you sharing your expertise with us. Going to ask you to stay with us, please. We need to take a quick break. Also want to thank Jason Swindle, criminal defense attorney here in the studio with us, for sharing his expertise as well. Much more coverage of the trial against Kellen Winslow II after this. All right, we want to take you back out to San Diego right now, where we have criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj standing by for us. Thank you so much for staying with us. And what I want to do is ask you, if you were representing Kellen Winslow II, tell me, as his attorney, would you advise him to testify in this case? Why or why not, please?
That's very difficult to answer without actually reading every sentence of his statements that he gave while he was under arrest for one of the subsequent charges. But in general, I'll answer it this way. I've had the great honor of representing professional athletes, some football players in the NFL, and other celebrities around the country. And I will tell you this. Many times the defendant or the suspect is the only piece of evidence that matters. In these types of cases where intent matters, without, of course, considering counts 1 and 2, where intent is the issue, when jurors hear from someone that they want to like, an individual without a criminal history, who has done a lot of things, great accomplishments in his life, and a potentially against all odds type of story, they want to gravitate and believe that person. In this situation, however, Mr. Winslow Jr. is in a precarious position because once he testifies regarding intent, regarding counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, 3, 4, and 5, well, then that also opens the door for questioning regarding his intent and other issues for counts 1 and 2. So in this case, I would really evaluate it and conduct a very methodical opportunity cost. What do you gain versus what do you lose? Now, we also know that Mr. Winslow Jr. made a statement alluding to consent for the allegations raised by Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 2. Well, that's a very interesting issue because that has to be put in front of the jury. It can't just be a statement saying, well, it was consensual. That's not going to have any teeth for the defense in this case. In this case, Kellen Winslow Jr., in order to defend counts 1 and 2, will have to testify, but it could cause a big problem for the remaining counts.
It is great hearing your thoughts. Criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj, thank you for your expertise. We appreciate you standing by in San Diego for us today. Thank you very much. And we will continue our coverage of the case against Kellen Winslow II, former NFL star. Don't go away. Lots more for you straight ahead, including an update on the jury selection that's happening right now.